Well, welcome. This is what is this again? The Legacy of Star Wars, and we're talking about a Rey movie delayed. Yes or no? We are more importantly watching, in my opinion, what will be the greatest, or what is the greatest film ever made to this point. Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, which is in fact the second Star Wars movie ever released, for those of you that might be too young to understand that. We were just talking about the PS1 Star Wars The Phantom Menace game, which if you stay tuned until next week, we'll talk about more. But it's re-released today, right? Today's the day. I think Johnny said it was already up there on PS Plus. So if you were a fan of the movie game for the Phantom Menace, I know I was back in the day, it's available to buy on the PlayStation Store. Or wait, is it available to buy, or is it strictly if you have PS Plus?
I don't know. I didn't look at that.
Usually anything in the store you can buy, but there are certain games in their catalog that if you have, depending on the tier, it's free. So PS1, PS2, PS3, as long as you have the premium tier, it's all free.
Johnny, what do you just right off the top here, what do you remember about the first time you ever watched The Empire Strikes Back, and how many times had you watched A New Hope prior to watching Empire, or was it just one after the other? Because I'd watched A New Hope 6 or 7 times before I ever watched Empire. I always played on TBS, and TBS didn't play the other two.
I don't remember specifically the first time. I mean, the first time I remember watching it vividly probably would have been the special editions in '97. I mean, I'm sure I'd seen it before then, but you know, it was the TBS cut, so you'd turn it on. You know, I'm watching WCW Saturday night, and I catch the tail end of Empire before it comes on, sort of thing. You know. Or a Clash of the Champions or something, and it's on TBS right before or right after, so I catch it there. I don't remember watching it before then. So I guess the first time that I'd, actively remember sitting down to watch it would have been 97. And I probably would have watched A New Hope right before or the day before. I can't remember if we did 1, 2, 3 or if it was, spread over 3 days. But it would have been, I'd say, within a 24-hour period of seeing A New Hope.
Randy, how about you? What do you remember about your first time seeing Empire?
So, like, my very first memory of Star Wars in general was Return of the Jedi. But after that, throughout the 80s, I'll be hanging out with friends or anything like that. Star Wars was always playing in the background, depending on who I was hanging with. And it could be anywhere from A New Hope to Empire to Jedi at the time. So it was just always on in the background in some way, shape, or form. Obviously during the holidays, growing up as a kid, it's like USA and a couple other stations would actually show the entire trilogy because it's the holiday season. Let's show them something special. But beyond that, then once the special editions came out, and then I really started kind of watching them a little more on my own. And then the cool thing was when they re-released them at theaters, my friends and I in college went and actually saw them as a re-release, which was a really cool experience.
Yeah. So we all have different. Sorry about that. That's going to be an issue throughout the night. I'll do my best to mute it. But yeah, we all have different experiences seeing Empire for the first time. As I've told the story. Well, see, I had the Luke and Leia being siblings ruined and Vader being the dad ruined, and it was ruined by a next door neighbor. And the worst part about it is it's not like I had it ruined and then watched the movie like a month or two later or 5 months later or a year later. I had it ruined like 10 minutes before I watched the movie. So that was shitty. And I don't think it was done intentionally either, but So it sucked that had happened. I mean, I don't remember if I thought maybe they were lying, because I think it would seem unbelievable at that point. But yeah, I had the moment ruined, and it is what it is. The weather's fucking terrible, man. Terrible. Non-stop fucking snow where I am. I've had it. It's hot.
I mean, I'll take some of the snow here, but now we actually got a little bit of a wintry mix. We had a little bit of a wintry mix on our own here, and of course in Virginia, you know, people panic when you get an inch. There was like 3 or 4 inches, and I'm just laughing all the way because I'm just like, oh, come on, I had 3 feet of snow is what I'm used to, and it happened in the past 6 hours. That's great. I have to go shovel the driveway now. Here it's just like, it's like if you're that person who likes to do people watching, just sit on your porch with a beer in hand and just watch the chaos.
If you stay tuned until after the movie, we will very briefly address the Rey movie being delayed. I'll say this off the top. It's not hard to figure out, people. And actually, Johnny, I meant to contact to contact you about this earlier in the day so we could have this prepared, but maybe, I mean, you're obviously at a computer, so maybe you can pull this up. Can you pull up the term for indefinitely in the dictionary or wherever online, indefinite or indefinitely, please? Because there seems to be people that don't know what that means. So I'll say this. The Rey movie was supposed to be first up. We all know it. They came out and said it. It was covered by basically every major Hollywood trade for months. This is post Star Wars Celebration last year, by the way, too. And then, obviously, recently, they've just announced first up will be The Mandalorian and Grogu. And unless they get that thing ready before a date that they've already announced is one of their release dates, which I suppose is possible, but very unlikely, the Rey movie has been delayed. Johnny, what is the proper term for indefinite or indefinitely?
An indeterminate amount of time.
Thank you. So you're a big fantasy sports player. I know Randy's into sports. I'm into sports. When a player gets injured indefinitely, sometimes, if not, more often than not, it can end up being a bit of a longer term injury. But people see the term indefinite or indefinitely in 2024 apparently on the internet and immediately jump to, oh my fucking God, it's canceled. It's not coming. We're not getting it. And in their defense, I understand why you feel that way, given Lucasfilm's track record post The Rise of Skywalker, and you have every reason to feel that way. But just so we're clear, indefinitely does not mean canceled. And I'm not saying the movie's not going to be canceled. And I'm not saying the movie is going to be canceled. I'm simply saying I don't think they know when that movie will be ready at this point in time. And Mando's first up. Sorry. It was all over the internet today. People say it indefinitely meant canceled.
I mean, in Hollywood terms, it usually does, though.
Oh, it very well could. I mean, look what happened. We talked about it last week.
I mean, at this point, it's just about if it's going to be stuck in developmental hell or not. And I mean, think about all the movies that have been announced throughout the years that end up getting stuck in developmental hell. And it's only a handful seem to actually see light of day. As an example, the Borderlands film was in developmental hell for a long while. And actually, we're going to get a release later this year, finally. Whether it'll be good or not, we'll see, but it's just an example.
I don't think Johnny's being cynical when he says what he said either. Like, let's be honest, Lucasfilm does not have a good track record here, and I think we all just want to see a Star Wars project come out on the big screen that is done properly and gone through a proper development cycle. And obviously, the first thing we all think when we hear of something being delayed or postponed, if you will, or canceled, or this person has left the project with Star Wars, I understand why the community's first reaction is, don't let it be true. I get it. I do. I have no idea if it's true. I know it's true that it's been delayed. Like that much is a given. Do the math. But will we ever see it? Who knows? I would say this to everybody out there: until they're actually shooting one of these things, cameras are rolling. Not a week from shooting, day one, principal photography. Don't get yourself caught in that mix where something's a guarantee, because at this point, I don't think anything's a guarantee with Star Wars on the big screen. I'll let you guys do your thoughts, and we'll move on to the watch along. We were going to do this at the end, but let's just get out of the way now. Johnny?
I mean, I don't. It's at the point in a project where I generally don't care. It's the pie in the sky. It's an announced. I've gotten to the point where I don't give a crap about the announcement, because not just in Star Wars, but just in Hollywood in general, if I had a nickel for every project that was announced that didn't come to fruition for one reason or another, I'd have a lot of nickels. So I've gotten to the point where I don't care about the announcement until you can show me something. Until you're actively filming, until I see footage, like until I see a cast on a set, I don't care so much, because it is so often meaningless. And in Star Wars, especially lately, I mean, this would be what, the 10th film? Stuck in development hell since Disney took the property. Like,
I thought you meant the 10th film, like Star Wars film released. And I was going to say,
no.
Solo, Rogue One, and like we just did our list, right? But yeah, you know what? It's scary to admit, but that number is probably pretty close to being true, and it might be more even. It's they've kind of asked for this themselves with the way they've handled certain things. Randy, how about you? Thoughts on just all of this?
It's one of those things where we all get excited. We're all like, ooh, the potential, the prospect of what this could be. Let the speculation begin. And that's part of being a fan, part of the excitement of just loving Star Wars in general. And the thing is like, but when it comes to the movies in general, whether it's the Rey film or what we all hope we were going to get with a Rogue Squadron movie that obviously didn't come to fruition, like Johnny, until we see casting, until we get, hey, this is the start of our principal of photography, it's like, oh look, here's our script. I mean, the movie doesn't even have a script yet. It's just announced with Daisy Ridley. There's no other cast members.
Be clear, the movie does have a script. Damon Lindelof? Is that the guy from Lost and what was the other thing he did? Oh my God, Zack Snyder did a movie about it. I'm drawing a blank here.
You lost me at Zack Snyder.
A comic movie. People didn't like it. Rorschach. What's he from?
Oh, you mean Watchmen?
That's it. So he also was the main guy behind the Watchmen TV series, which was critically acclaimed. He apparently did several versions, so it's not like we're at the beginning of the project. We're deep into it, and there's an issue somewhere, and now there's a PR issue, obviously, with the shit that went down last week. And
yeah,
it's a bad look, what it is on all fronts.
Well, it's just putting the cart before the horse. It's like, let's just announce it before we have a lot of the things that we would normally need set in stone. And this is what we got. And is it a bummer that it's going to be delayed indefinitely? Sure. Of course it is, because to get an idea of having a movie with Daisy Ridley heading, maybe not even technically heading, but having Rey be a focus in the movie and not have to worry about living up to what the sequel trilogy was supposed to be. This is her own film, essentially, where she can just go out there and act and not have to worry about stuff. It's a bummer. I mean, she's a decent actress, so it's not like it's not like she would have done put her best foot forward. But now we're just gonna have to wait. And does it suck? Yeah, but that's just Hollywood, unfortunately.
I see some comments in the chat. We will get to all you guys momentarily and your questions, including that really good Return of the Jedi question. But we're going to get.
It's a 2-hour movie. We'll have time.
Yeah, well, we're going to get to this watch party here now. So without. Oh, by the way, you're going to see us probably snacking and drinking on camera. We will mute ourselves or do our best to remember to do so. Feel free to do so yourself. Anything you want to talk about, as long as it's Star Wars related, doesn't have to be just about Empire. Let's keep the topic on Star Wars, and let's enjoy, for what my money is, the greatest motion picture film ever made. Up next is The Empire Strikes Back on the Legacy of Star Wars. I guess we didn't figure that one out, huh? I thought you.
That's what happens when you do the intro 15 minutes into the show. Everything gets screwed up.
Well, hey, you know what? Unless you want to come over here and edit the beginning portion, which is going to go up as its own thing, then this allowed me to have an easy buffer in there. So anything to make my job easier, anyways. Welcome to the Legacy of Star Wars. Those of you that were here at the beginning, thank you. You've already had a chance to listen to us chatter a little bit about Star Wars The Phantom Menace for PS1. If you didn't know, it's available on PS Plus Premium, I believe Johnny said. I have no idea if the game is available for sale outside of that. Is it? Oh, what is the cost of that? If you don't
$7 Canadian.
$7 Canadian. I'm probably just going to buy that then. $7. So that's available. And then obviously we touched on the Rey movie stuff right out of the gate. Who knows what ends up happening with that, but the movie is delayed. We are starting our The Empire Strikes Back watch along here. We are watching the Disney Plus version, and we are starting it right from 0 seconds. We'll do a 3, 2, 1, go countdown. We'll all click play on go. Before we do, you guys want to add anything in here?
I'm excited, man. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I turned down my oldest kid watching in terms of watching this when he was down, just because we had the watch party coming up, and him and I have watched together a couple of times already. So I'm jumping at the bit to do this. Let's do it. 3, 2, 1, go. I still say now that Disney owns Fox, they should go back and put that intro at the beginning of all the sequel films. Give us something for the sequels, damn it.
That'd be a lot of fun.
This is the awkward part. When you're watching these movies in sequence, is the crawl. Because you've just seen everything it's telling you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Piece of trivia for everybody out there, though, if you're watching this along. By the way, we'll do our first time update now. We are at 1 minute, 10 seconds. The space crawl is up, and we're finishing the second paragraph. Where are we here? Secret base on the remote ice world of Hoth. A little bit of trivia here. You know, no points on the board here, but how long after A New Hope does Empire take place? Do either of you know?
I'm gonna say 5 years.
The chat can chime in if they know.
I don't think it was that long.
How long does Empire take place after A New Hope?
I would say it was a weird number. I would say something like 8 months.
The correct answer is 3 years. It takes place 3 years after A New Hope. So quite a bit of time passes.
Yeah, I was screaming in my head 3, and I'm like, no, it's got to be longer than that. 'Cause I feel like Luke had grown a lot. So, but 3 years, yeah.
God, that looks so awful in 2023.
What did? The Tauntaun?
Just the way it was, like, when it first showed up.
Oh, the stop animation?
Yeah.
You know what didn't look awful, though, is that first shot where you're coming in. They got that shot, think about it, but way back, 1979, I think it would have been. An incredible shot. And then the matte painting behind the Tauntaun looks real. It looks like an environment, and it's not. It's a painting.
They definitely don't make them like this anymore.
Fun fact, Apollo, I have never read Splinter. I think it's Splinter of the Mind's Eye. Yeah. Never read it. Obviously, it wasn't even canon in the last canon. It was the canon before that canon. So, but I remember, wasn't the Kyber crystal a big thing in that one?
Yeah, because I think in that particular book, I think that was one of the times Luke's lightsaber was actually yellow, I think. At least that the artwork on the book, if memory serves me correctly, that's what it looked like. Even though we all know it's blue still, but it was weird. It's just like the Hasbro figures back in the day. They gave Luke a yellow lightsaber for his hand. I'm like, seriously? Obi-Wan gets blue, Vader gets red, and here's Luke with yellow.
This guy's had 3 fucking years to pay off that debt. Like, think about it. 3 years, and he had more than enough.
So let's think about that reward money he got.
Yeah.
Hey, he had to fix up his ship after that trench run battle.
The one where he basically Goldberg Vader and took no damage whatsoever. That one?
Hey, how do you know he didn't get hit by splattering Death Star pieces?
That's true. I would have liked that part to have a little more emphasis.
I can't not see it now, but that's an Indiana and Marion scene.
Yes, they did. They did borrow from already written material a little bit. But no, in terms of its spirit, I don't know why. Just where are we there? My thing just froze. Someone timestamp me.
7, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Let me know when we're at 7:32.
Okay.
28.
30, 31.
Okay. Yeah, we're good.
32.
Okay. That was weird.
How does covering 3PO's mouth keep him from talking?
I
These are the
mean,
questions you're not supposed to ask.
well, maybe they're, it's a speaker and they just covering up the speaker to muffle the noise. I don't know.
Put a hand over a speaker, it doesn't stop the noise, it just lightly muffles it. You can still hear it.
Speaking of questions, Apollo sent this one in before we started our watch party here. Guys, can you all settle a bet? Does Return of the Jedi mean Anakin, Luke, or the order that Luke will train? I have my own theory on what it means. Randy, what do you think Return of the Jedi means?
I think the in your face, like the obvious answer is Luke becoming a Jedi Knight, the first in a long time. Obviously, if you look at the undertones of the film, since the movie is really solely about, not solely, but for the most part about redemption, especially for Vader, you can definitely grasp the Return of the Jedi as Vader turning back into Anakin as well. But I don't know about the training of the Jedi Order, but I think ultimately the main thing is Luke becoming the first Jedi in a generation, and then the underlying undertones of Vader's redemption into Anakin, returning him as a Jedi.
It's right there in the title, Return of the Jedi. There's only one Jedi that returns in that film, and it's Anakin.
I mean, I think the clear answer is Obi-Wan Kenobi. I liked Randy's point that he made. I kind of liken it to the Phantom Menace. I think people see the Phantom Menace title and go, "Oh, that's Darth Maul." I think people see Return of the Jedi and go, "Oh, that's Luke Skywalker." But I think when you dive deeper into those titles, you find out that the Phantom Menace is actually Palpatine, Darth Sidious, and Return of the Jedi is in fact Anakin Skywalker because he is the Jedi.
Okay, I gotta ask this question. Has George ever given us a good answer for why everyone gets their arm cut off?
Maybe he's got a kink.
Well, and the thing, when you think about it, it continues to happen in just about every movie. You got the cantina scene. Poor dude. What did that dude ever do to? And then there goes his arm. Then of course, we have the Wampa, but we also, obviously later on, Luke losing a hand. Obviously, they tried to continue that in other movies, like having Chewie rip off a dude's arms in Solo. So I don't know. I kind of I think they just try to add it to every movie in one way, shape, or form.
That's just one of those, you look at it, every film George has been a part of has had at least one character get an arm chopped off.
Or losing a limb. I mean, think about the fact that in Revenge of the Sith, Anakin took, not only Dooku's hands, but then his head. So it's not just arms in that movie.
Oof.
Favorite lightsaber hilt?
That's a good question.
Hilt, Dooku.
That is a really cool looking one. That's a really good question. I mean, I would like to say Luke's Return of the Jedi, just because I own one, but no, I kind of, if I'm going to be honest, going back to like the Old Republic, I really kind of thought Malgus's lightsaber hilt was actually really cool.
I hated Dooku's as a kid. Couldn't stand it. And then as I've gotten older, I just think everything about Count Dooku has become more interesting, and the character has become more interesting. And I love the lightsaber stance now, and how that character, just like his ability as a swordsman and how it's handled on screen is very well. And as time's passed, I've kind of been like, yeah, you know what? For his style and the way he holds the saber and his stance, it kind of makes sense that the hilt is curved. So that one's grown on me, but I have to say Revan's is my favorite, even though I don't think it's practical at all.
See, I could have guessed that for you, and I was like, no, I'm not going to say it. I'll just let Sean just outright say that Revan's is basically his favorite.
Definitely Revan's, but I don't know how the hell he would hold it properly.
I wish I could have afforded it at the time, just before Christmas, back in like November, December or something. At one of the Costco's up in Markham, they had the Revan lightsaber, the Force Effects full-size lightsaber, $200.
Sounds about right.
Way cheaper than what it's been.
But they had a pallet of them, and I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah, that's insane. Because
wait, a pallet?
Yeah.
That's close to like $400. I think it is. If you went on Amazon right now, I bet you it's around $400 Canadian.
It might have been $299 Canadian, but even still.
I'd have been like, oh, I'm buying it because you got a pallet of them and might as well get it while I can. Now, I think the next one I'm going to do is the Kanan Jarrus one that the Disney shops just put out. I think it's 170, which I'm fine with. I like how Haas look at the laser like, the hell?
Oh.
One of those classic Han quips.
That Peaky Blinders film is happening. So yeah, he's very much involved with that. He's basically the one behind that series. So
I remember the first time seeing the snow speeders, and I was just like, wow, these are actually really cool looking. What I was bummed about is when I started doing like reading a little more research on these things, is the fact that they're not really space worthy, that they're really I was like, damn, that'd have been kind of cool, but I get it.
100%. Same thing, man. Same thing. Loved the look. Couldn't wait to play one in the game. But when they were first, like as we're watching if we were watching Empire for the first time, I definitely thought that they would be space worthy, and I didn't put it together till later that they were not.
It's a land speeder for cold climates, guys.
Well, when you're a kid, the first time you watch this, you're not thinking that.
You can go pretty high.
Considering how tall walkers are, yeah, they can.
I never actually imagined them as like spacecraft.
But it was one of the 3 ships I owned as a kid. I had the Falcon, an X-wing, and a snowspeeder.
I have never realized until like as I got older, realized just how awkward he looks in that back to tank. With that costume design in Star Wars has always been great. That scene was not good.
Well, what's interesting to think about is they utilized Mark Hamill's motorcycle accident to very well with this. So that, it's like, oh, you're scarred. Well, okay, that's because you just got the shit beat out of you by a Wampa, and you came out of the back to tank, but you're not fully healed yet. But here it's like you're just like, damn, the fact that he was that messed up that he just had scars all over his face like that is crazy.
I'm just noticing this now, like in this moment, but why does it look like Chewie has a mustache on his fur? I can't look at Chewie and not see it now.
And of course, now that I'm older and I watch that scene, and all I can think of is that line from your trip. Dude, you just kissed your sister. Maybe Chewie thought he was looking a little, felt like he needed a little something extra and just decided to, I don't know if he dyed it or legit grew a damn mustache, but you're right. It is definitely darker on the upper lip than the rest of his body.
I can't not see it now. It just looks so. It's like Chewie saw an episode of Miami Vice and was like, damn.
So say it looks like he has a Burt Reynolds stash.
No, we're all
The
wrong.
wrinkles in that.
This is George's payback for Tom Selleck not being indie. Like, you want it to be Magnum? Well, we're gonna give Chewie a Magnum stash.
The scale and detail of that Super Star Destroyer is just incredible, knowing it's just a model.
I like how all the guys in the hole are looking up, going, "Oh shit, here he comes."
Right, I was just about to say, like, imagine working under this guy. Like, you're probably wondering if you're going to live to see tomorrow. I better not breathe the wrong way. Some poor fuck has like a bag of sand by his workstation to remember his family or something, and he just loses it all.
I like the look on Piet's face. He's like, "Yeah, that's right. I'm coming for your job, asshole."
Our buddy George says, no, not that George. He's still missing in action. Splinter was the novel that would have been made as a low-budget sequel if Star Wars wasn't a success.
That definitely would have been interesting if they actually had to have been made into a movie. But I think we're very fortunate we got what we got.
Yeah, to some extent, you know.
I think it wasn't until until he was doing Return of the Jedi that I think that's when he finally decided to do that. I think it was never. I don't think they were meant to be brother and sister right off the rip.
Agreed. We knew there'd be one for sure. Originally, it was intended to be Starkiller and Starkiller's father, so we knew the son and father thing was going to be a thing. Not that we, the audience, back in 1980, would have known that, but that was the intent from the beginning. Whereas I do believe Leia was definitely a much later addition.
For sure.
This fucks in Indiana Jones too.
Yep. Clearly plays the villain well, so might as well throw him in.
Yep. Last Crusade.
Did you say Hoth is the 6th planet of the Hoth system?
I don't know, and I can't go back and check. So. I remember thinking this was so fucking cool as a kid. What's that say about me?
I just find myself scratching my head at this. If you can literally use the Force to choke someone to death through a video screen, why do you ever have to hire assassins?
Interesting question. I will say the one thing I do feel like in the sequel trilogy they did right with Leia is kept that just commanding presence, just that strong leader she always was from the word go. That was one of the things I think they did really well.
Bang on. Absolutely. In terms of what Jolly just said about why doesn't he just not hire assassins because he can do it through a screen? I don't think it's so much it's because it's through the screen. I think it's because they're on the same ship.
That's valid.
Like Snoke does the same thing in The Last Jedi, right?
It's a Snoke thing, so I don't remember.
I think so. Yeah, because he throws Hux around.
Mm-hmm.
Stop celebrating. It's the first transport.
What appears to be some Shawn Michaels looking sunglasses. Like Johnny had a pair of those as a kid. Fucking traitor. And our buddy Gary Kirshner, just kidding, Irvin Kirshner, just legendary career
You got to be an OG to get that joke.
for sure. But we have a couple OGs in here tonight, so appreciate you guys coming out. Just if we just watched A New Hope prior to Christmas, and I think when you look at a lot of the shots, like just the camera angles that we get in that film compared to this one, like there's a noticeable difference. Kirshner definitely had a idea on how he wanted his flick to look, and I think when you put A New Hope and Empire side by side, they're both Star Wars films, but they're shot in very different ways.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Kid me never asked the questions, but grown up me is really questioning the rebels' defenses that they managed to allow the Imperials to land not one, but like 4 AT-ATs on the planet. They're not spaceships. I had to literally land and deploy the walkers.
Well, I mean, we've played some of the RTS Star Wars games. There are transports that actually carry the walkers.
I get that, but like, I mean, like, it's just one of those things that's like you sort of kind of like. Like when you're young, you don't think about those things, but when you're older, you sort of question, like, if you have land speeders and ships and planetary defenses, why don't we see you attacking?
Damn it!
Like those.
Why, Dak? Why? Not Dak.
Dax have a very high failure rate this week.
Truer words were never spoken.
Oh man, I choked, and I'm not a Cowboys fan.
You choke like Dak? Is that what that is?
Fuck! I literally just choked. Thanks, Johnny. Oh man!
When you bring up Dak, it's funny.
Not like that either, you sicko.
It's funny you bring up Dak because I remember with the Family Guy special, and he's like, "I feel like I'd take on the whole empire by myself." You hear that, guys? Dak's got this. And he just flies up and gets annihilated.
I'm now picturing in my head the actual Dak Prescott being there and using his cadence to be like, "I got it."
Wedge showing off them 6 skills like always.
Oh man. Imperial defenses. We can stand up to your best laser beams, but we'll trip with a rope and a stick.
I like how the rebels are all in the trenches and they're just constantly firing. And it's like, yeah, our puny blasters are going to take this down.
I mean, clearly they understand how to defeat walkers with the whole, tie up the legs and trip them thing. How do they not have like reinforced barricades that can go up literally to just the point where the walkers can't step over them? Like walkers have a very low
through them.
Yeah.
It'd have to be an indestructible barricade.
Well, Not really. You just need to be strong enough to stop them for long enough to keep them from advancing so that you could, trip them up and knock them over.
Is that canon, George, or is that like old lore? I don't recall hearing that. I just assumed he knew Anakin, and not to mention he did the exact same thing to Darth Maul, but did it successfully. If you look at the Maul Kenobi fight and then the Skywalker Kenobi fight, it's the exact same ending. When does Vader learn that Luke is his son? In the current canon, I forget how it goes down, but essentially, Boba Fett is on a mission for the Empire, and he is given Vader a report. And he wants information about the rebel pilot that blew up the Death Star because he's pissed that he couldn't kill him, basically, and because Luke was getting away from him a bit there before Han came for the save, and basically he finds out, I believe it's aboard. I don't know if it's a Superstar Destroyer or just a Star Destroyer, but he finds out from Boba Fett that it was a Skywalker. And fun fact, in current canon, he actually goes back to Tatooine. It's a meeting that doesn't go well for Jabba.
I wonder why. I mean, he's already got to be pissed. He's got to walk in sand as it is.
Vader finds out that he has a son. Everyone's picturing like Vader as a badass because that's what he was in the original trilogy. Meanwhile, in that scene where he finds out he has a son, he's just throwing a Kylo Ren like. Sorry, I think the net is giving me some issues here, but Vader throws a Kylo Ren like temper tantrum and is cursing Kenobi because obviously Kenobi would have knew, but now Kenobi's dead. And Hoth and Mustafar, the two planets in Star Wars I'd never want to visit.
And of course, in Shadows of the Empire, when you're playing on Hoth and you're going through the base, you get to deal with Wampas. How they got in the base, who knows? They're just there.
I always love this shot here.
So, something tells me that if Empire was made today, you would have seen Vader just throwing rubble out of the way with the Force, probably.
I was gonna say, I was just about to say, it'd be so much fun seeing him kill rebels there, but there's something just badass about him being there and the fact that they're trying to get the hell away from him.
I'm happy because if this was today, there'd be like a hallway scene.
A hallway. There's a ton of hallways. All right, now cue 5 minutes of hallway scenes. Also, where the fuck was Han spending all the credits? Because clearly it wasn't on the Falcon.
Don't tell me he was losing at the sabacc tables. Either that or the Falcon just sucks in cold weather.
one of those moments, that escape scene, where like the way they did things in the future sort of makes it less, because like Vader's strong enough in the Force that we see lesser beings stop ships. Tell me Vader couldn't have stopped the Vulcan from leaving?
Who stopped a ship?
I mean, I think
like we've seen it since that. Like, I mean, Starkiller did it.
Oh, well, I mean,
I'm saying, like, we've seen other people do it. It's like,
come on.
But I mean, I think that's the whole thing. It's at the time, Lucas probably just didn't have a full grasp on exactly what he wanted the Force to truly be. And as time went on and the years went on, they just kept on adding more to it and
use that shot for Kenobi. Sorry, Randy.
Oh, you're fine. So it's like, I was like, okay, we can do this with the Force now. We can do this with the Force now. Then you get the video games where you get like the Force Unleashed, where it's like an extreme version of the Force. And then we've seen it with the sequel trilogy with Rey healing that creature, but also stopping that transport, and then of course nuking it in the end. But still, it's all this stuff just keeps adding and more lore, and there's more lore out there that it impresses me how much the Force has grown over the years.
3PO's trying to warn him. He won't listen. Also, really good writing and acting on George's part, and on Lawrence Kasdan's part, and obviously Irvin Kershner directing, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher. The way the two characters come off in this movie, it's like obviously two characters that have a thing for one another, but like it's also, you can tell they've spent too much time together over the last 2 years. Look out for those potatoes.
Not gonna lie, the asteroid scene is definitely some of my favorite music from the movie.
It's good. I love it. It's another one of those moments where the future hurts. Because this is a moment where, like, I did the Kessel run in 3.7 parts. That's literally running through an asteroid field.
I love the look on Chewie's face. It was the oh shit look, like we're fucked.
I think it's more Chewie of, I've already done this before.
Probably.
Not again.
But I also like how they use this as a callback with Solo when they're doing the whole Kessel run and things like that. So I really appreciated them tying that together.
What's going on, Travis? This is him replying to Apollo. In canon, in canon, it's during the 2015 Marvel run in which Boba Fett finds out his name after fighting him in Obi-Wan's home, then tells Vader. Yeah, that's right. They did square off. Do any of the novels explain how Luke's lightsaber ends up at Maz's castle? No, I don't believe that's canon yet.
I think there's been hints like in the comics and things like that, but I don't think they've really outright said how that happened.
Well, the Emperor scene that we're getting ready to see here is that wasn't even special edition. That was reshot.
That's for the Blu-rays.
Yeah, that was reshot like way, way, way late in the game, post Revenge of the Sith, I believe. So,
Good old Ian McCrimmon.
yeah. The OGs might remember that one too. But yeah, so I mean, I used to like seeing the original one because it looks so much different than obviously a different person playing them, but it looked different than the Emperor in Return of the Jedi. But in terms of like lining up and continuity, obviously I prefer whenever we can have Ian McDiarmid on screen. He's great.
Well, and of course, the interesting fact with before the special edition, the Emperor was like with the eyes of a chimp and then someone else's mouth,
Yeah.
essentially.
That's literally.
Which did make for a very interesting look. But obviously, at the time, George just didn't know exactly. I don't think he really knew what he wanted in terms of the look of the Emperor, just because I like McDiarmid's look in Return of the Jedi so much better than what they did for Empire. And I'm kind of
all that then. Like,
yeah, and I'm kind of glad that they, even though they keep tweaking and messing with it, I do like the fact they added McDiarmid to the Blu-ray editions. I think that really did work.
Travis with the comment of the show so far. The inside of Tauntauns made me think of tater tots. Weirdly, it should have ruined them for me, but it actually made me want them more. Well then.
Those are some slick looking tater tots, let me tell you.
Poor R2. Was it shot during Revenge of the Sith? I thought it was shot a little after that, but I don't remember my 2004 DVDs. They were the first Star Wars DVDs, but I do remember it came with the big documentary there, which I always forget the name of, but I watched it 100 times. So
Empire of Dreams.
That's it, Empire of Dreams. And this time, even though I didn't have a widescreen TV, I said, fuck the gold box. I'm buying the widescreen box because it looks better.
If there was ever a time I would have loved to understand what R2 was saying, it would have been on Dagobah. Because I can only imagine the 4-letter words coming out of his mouth.
You fucking liar. You sack of shit. We were literally in a war together. Has dispenser anybody? Vader clearly liked him. Because not only did he get away with just walking into his area and being seen before he was ready to be seen, even the manner of which he talked to him and the tone was like, clearly Vader didn't mind him that much. Can't say the same for Captain Nita.
Kid me takes that literally. Adult me goes, I see what you did there.
Yeah, they went a little too far in the 2011 changes. I think it was 2011 when that came out. Whenever the Blu-rays came out, the first batch of Blu-rays. Apollo asks, how often did Vader have to spend in the back to tanks? Well, we've learned since then far more frequently than I think any of us ever thought. It seems like he wanted to be in it basically whenever he could, whenever he wasn't doing something. And that would make sense because I'd want that death trap off of me too.
I mean, considering the suit's got spines inside of it that pretty much piss him off the entire time.
Yeah. I mean, we all say what you want about Kenobi, but we all seen how tedious and painful that process is. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if there's if he can go a couple of days without seeing anybody and, the ship commanders and stuff, he probably spends a ton of time in there.
Oh, for sure.
Still blows me away how good Yoda looks. Given that, he's a puppet with some animatronics in it, and that's it.
Kind of Jedi is he eating Luke's chicken strip. Son of a bitch.
Hey, if there's one thing we've learned from Grogu is that they really like their chicken nuggies.
Very true.
Right? Wonder if that's where that came from.
I mean, let's be honest, there's also a very good chance he's got his favorite thing on that planet, frog eggs.
Good point.
The real reason he chose Dagobah.
I like the cuisine here.
He's looking at Dagobah as they're getting ready to drop off Yoda, and he's just like, you sure about this? thinking it's Dagobah. Meanwhile, Yoda thinks of it as paradise.
It's like, yeah, I was here 400 years ago. Cuisine was great. I'll be fine.
I don't know what his reasoning. Hang on. I do know what his reasoning for this one was. I believe I read about this in a book.
Because it was so strong in the dark side of the Force, it masked his presence.
Huh? I think we're talking about two different things.
Oh, I was looking at the Dagobah thing.
Okay. I believe the way it went is he wanted Luke's first appearance, once they had obviously completed filming all the scenes, to be when he arrives at Jabba's palace. So you have the impact of him going in, choking the Gamorrean guards, and presenting himself in front of Jabba. But that scene gets talked about a lot as a way they could have opened the film with. And the other one is where Han and Luke depart in the sandstorm from Tatooine and don't see each other till after Luke's done on Endor.
I mean, I like the deleted scene with him completing his lightsaber, because I think that just, as we've learned over the years, that's really one of the key components of your Jedi training, is creating your own lightsaber, and to actually get to see that, outside of animation, would have been really cool.
I've complained a lot about, things that the future sort of mucks up, but that was the scene the future helped. Finally getting to understand what language the Falcon was speaking.
Oh, yeah.
3PO.
You are never going to enjoy another old movie for the rest of your life with plots like that.
Oh, I still enjoy the hell out of it. It's just the continuity things you notice, and mostly I'm noticing them because we're doing this. So I'm thinking more about the other things.
Well, let's say one of the things that I actually, I guess, growing up, never really paid attention to it so much. It's just the way Han talks to the Falcon, and then of course, obviously seeing Solo, and it's like,
Yeah,
it all makes sense.
he's talking to L3, not an inanimate ship like we thought he was.
Travis says, true story about 2004 box set. It came with 3 films in the dock. My mom was really OCD, and I never put the originals back in the box set after watching due to laziness. 1 of 3. Years later, after I moved, I went to watch them, realizing all 3 were missing from the box set, but the box set was full. Waiting for 3 of 3 still. How did Lucas rationalize adding Hayden as a Force Ghost at the end of Jedi? The belief was, and it kind of basically it's meant to make Obi-Wan also look not like a liar in A New Hope, and that the man that was once Luke's father ceased to exist by the end of Revenge of the Sith. That and the other guy didn't look anything like him. So they have been playing off that, though. They've been adding more to that from a certain point of view, dives into Obi-Wan greeting Anakin the moment after he dies, and they walk through a little bit of a process together. And if you're a fan of audiobooks, check that out. It's about half an hour long, that chapter. It's really good.
Vader planting the seeds of trying to betray Palpatine here.
Oh, yeah, because he already knows it's Luke. This is him finding out Palpatine knows. Which the new comics do a good job of playing that up. Travis says 3 or 3. She put the episode 1 through 3 DVDs in the original box, but weirder. The Clone Wars movie was between 2 and 3, meaning she had to look up the films before putting them in the box.
Oh,
boy. You have stole the show here today, sir. Oh, for sure, especially after Ahsoka. Why doesn't Qui-Gon disappear after his death, but Ben Solo does? The best way I can answer this would be Qui-Gon never finished his training. He finished post-death, where I guess we're supposed to assume at some point Luke would have taught Ben Solo.
That line right there doesn't make any sense to me, because I never really thought of Obi-Wan as being angry. I do now being like a little overzealous at times and being a little arrogant. Like that part I get, but angry.
He
Nah,
gets pissy with Qui-Gon towards the end of Phantom Menace, right before they go back to Naboo. That's the most I can see. Qui-Gon basically tells him to shut up and get on board the ship.
I think it also goes back to his dalliance on Mandalore.
He was going to quit the Jedi at one point too.
Yeah.
I always found that delivery very creepy.
Yeah.
And very un-Yoda-like. This here is a very important distinction in terms of the way current canon works. Travis tells Apollo, Obi-Wan, and Yoda were able to choose when they became one with the Force, while Qui-Gon was killed. This is correct. As we, again, from a certain point of view, the A New Hope version, it dives into Obi-Wan's perspective of the Vader battle on the Death Star and what's going through his head. And basically, as soon as the lightsaber hits his arm, which is where it crosses through, he becomes one with the Force right there. So Vader doesn't even really get a chance to kill Kenobi. Kenobi just becomes one with the Force.
Just one more middle finger to Anakin.
Right? Here's strike 3 just for good measure.
And of course, I cannot watch that scene without thinking about when Family Guy did it. And Peter's like, wait a minute. Huh. It keeps just firing over and over and over.
I'm not smart enough to decipher Kayla's emojis. Where did they start? Heart with either shoes or water underneath it. Shawn Michaels sunglasses. Tommy B. No. Whoever this is. What is that? I can't make that. Is that a cat? If it's a cat,
Yes.
that's totally Tommy B. All right, that fits. And then I think we got some frog eyes in here. Is that what, just a pair of eyeballs held up by hands? Is that what that is?
I believe that's Scared Frog Eyes.
Oh. guys, in Empire and Vader, Empire and Jedi, Vader keeps saying to Luke that Obi-Wan has taught him well. Was he not aware that Yoda trained him? He couldn't sense that. No, I wouldn't think at that point Vader would sense that. And I think the logical conclusion being that Obi-Wan literally disappeared right in front of his eyes was that kind of like we were just joking around there, is he thinks Obi-Wan's behind it. And to some extent, he kind of is.
Well, and I also think that Palpatine probably just said Yoda's dead. I've taken care of him. And then, of course, when Yoda goes to Dagobah, because of the dark side being so strong there, it can mask his presence so that no one knows he's alive. So, which allows
totally
him
killed Yoda.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, Vader to Tarkin. I totally killed Kenobi.
Yeah, I did. My lightsaber passed right through him. Yep. He's dead.
I mean, in his defense, Obi-Wan did think he killed Darth Maul. Cut the man in half.
This is true. I'm just saying, not that I would do this on my spare time or anything, but Johnny, if we got into it and, I decided to hack you in half or anything, I'd probably be pretty surprised to run into you, 12 years later on some distant planet.
Yeah, I know, right?
Fair.
Didn't I chop you in half?
I got better.
Though I will say, I think one of the watch-alongs we should do is Twilight of the Twin Suns.
Oh, we'll get there eventually, I think.
Oh, for sure.
There's only so many movies, Randy. There's only so many
movies where certain select.
Well, I get that, but I mean, I'm just talking about from like a conversational standpoint.
Oh, yeah, no,
there's
that's
a lot to
definitely-
unpack there.
Yeah, that's definitely on the list of.
I watched that fairly recently, sometime within like the last 4 or 5 months. It was a lot of fun. Also, by the way, I'll take this moment now to catch everybody up to date on a couple of things before we get the Luke versus fake Vader battle here. Is on the channel now to find things a little easier. We have playlists for all of our shows. The Legacy of Star Wars, which also includes our review series of Ahsoka. We also have Welcome to the Geek Side. Everything that we've done over there is now up on the channel, as well as Tonight in Haddonfield. And those playlists will be updated weekly. So if you missed any content, rather than scrummaging through everything and maybe not being able to find something, there's neat little tidy playlists you'll be able to go to and click on.
You formatted the playlist in the way in which I hate.
Most recent first?
Yes.
Yes. Well, that's the majority of YouTube, sir.
They're stupid. Every time I see a playlist,
Everybody's stupid but me.
Every time I see a playlist like that, I'm like, you're stupid. YouTube plays top to bottom in a playlist. Oldest to newest.
For someone who takes a lot of shots at me apparently being pro dark side whenever we play games, you are slowly, ever so slowly going to that side yourself, sir.
It's called getting older. You start realizing maybe he wasn't so wrong.
I've never thought about it this way. But if we ever do trivia for Empire, and we will be doing plenty more trivia as time goes, there's 2 lightsaber fights in Empire.
Wasn't
it's
much
easy
of
to
a fight, but
yeah. But
I remember as a kid going, "What the hell did I just watch? Why is Luke's face in that helmet?"
it's his twin brother, Luke Skywalker.
Talk about a throwback to when he was cloned.
Right. Oh, classic bounty hunter scene.
Tell me you filmed in Europe without telling me you filmed in Europe. I think like half of the bounty hunters are dressed up in BBC surplus costumes.
Oh, Captain Nita, that was a mistake. Travis says Shmi is to saying "I love you" before she dies in Anakin's arms, sending him to the dark. Ben is about to say "I love you" to Han's ghost. Han doesn't let him finish, to which he returns to the light. Interesting parallel. What am I referring to? I have no idea. I don't know when that was.
Something you said 3 minutes ago.
Yeah, I do think when Vader sees Kenobi in A New Hope, now that we have the Kenobi series, it does feel a little bit like Vader's like, you walked away the last time, you could have just gone off and lived your life. You know, you should not have come back because now you're dead. Although, again, Obi-Wan gets the last laugh. The way it's meant to be. You dumb motherfucker.
I'll take full responsibility and I will apologize. Mm-hmm. Famous
That's
last
going to go
words.
well for you.
Find Vader's tone comical when he does what he's about to do to poor Captain Nita. Almost like he's taking enjoyment in it.
Probably
Almost?
because he is. Thank you for apologizing. Here's your reward.
We are at 1 hour, 9 minutes, and 43 seconds of Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. And we've just had the do or do not, there is no try from Yoda to Luke.
I mean, it's such an iconic line, even though, you know, it's one of those things that I actually found in a fortune cookie one time. It's funny. I was like, okay, that works.
So I guess we know what George had for dinner while he was writing the script.
Very well, possibly.
I like the way Travis thinks of this. Another reason Hayden makes sense is Luke says he feels Anakin with Vader, but is horrified at seeing him unmasked. But relief when he sees him on Endor. That's who Luke was feeling within the Force. Oh boy. I'm gonna say ask us this question on another stream, or it's gonna be another, let's see, hour 57 minutes of me just going off on the Rise of Skywalker, because that's about what I think of that movie and how Lucasfilm handled it.
At current pace, we'll get to that in what, the summer? Is that in August? I think July or August.
That would well, honestly, it depends, right? Because the one thing we haven't taken into account here is we're going to have a review series for the Acolyte and for Skeleton Crew this year, and for Tales of the Jedi. Although Tales of the Jedi, if I remember right, all comes out at once.
Hmm.
I don't think that's like a weekly release, although I can't remember. I think the episodes are too short for that because I think most of them are like, what, 10 to 15 minutes long.
Something like that.
But depending on when all those series come, if we were going to go original trilogy to prequel to sequel, much like the release order, then yeah, at some point this year we'll be there. And that's if we don't decide to, hey, let's do a season of this show, or obviously not a season in one
I was gonna
episode.
say a season in one night, buddy.
No,
I'm a good binger, but that's a lot.
Sleep. What's that?
If we review, I'm just saying, if we decided we were going to review Book of Boba Fett for whatever reason, we might watch the premiere, and then I mean, you have to watch episode 6 with that one, and then episode 7. You know, I'm just saying there are other watch along possibilities, as Johnny alluded to earlier, than just the movies. But yeah, sadly, we will be at that movie sometime in the year 2024. October might make sense. Scary.
The look on Yoda's face. I'm getting too old for this shit.
Yeah, Vader was very well. Well, sorry, Yoda was somewhat well hitting on Dagobah. In the Legends continuity, we find out through what is it? Talon Card, Mara Jade, Luke, and others that Yoda had basically whooped the Dark Jedi's ass on Dagobah in front of George Cardass, and the connection there between George Cardass and Talon Card is Talon Card once worked for George Cardass, which comes full circle because Mara Jade also worked for Talon Card and is more than just work associates. Poor Nita. Admit it. Nita did something to piss off Vader there. No, not there, but before. Like, Vader literally took enjoyment in that.
Still a little
Apology
bit.
accepted, Captain Nita. This is the most Han Solo of Han Solo moves. Apollo, you're killing me here tonight, man. These great hypothetical questions about the wrong movie. In Jedi, Vader, blah. That'll be next month, by the way. Jedi is February's movie. In Jedi, Vader blocks Luke's saber from hitting Palpatine. Does he do this to protect his master, or Luke from giving into anger? I think at the moment we assume he's protecting Palpatine, but you could certainly play it off as maybe he was protecting Luke, because Palpatine would have ate Luke alive.
A little of both. Vader's still in the no one gets to kill you but me phase. Also, if flipping a switch on the back of 3PO's head is all you need to do to shut him up, why do they not do it more?
Or send him swimming on Mustafar.
I love the smirk.
R2's probably like, Dan, would you stop dropping me?
Yoda secretly wants him to destroy R2 so R2 doesn't spill the beans.
R2's kept his mouth shut this long.
No, Apollo. I mean, Empire questions would be great, but you can, as long as it stays on Star Wars, we're good. Speaking of which, if you didn't hear us off the top of the show, if you were a fan of the Star Wars Episode 1 Phantom Menace PlayStation 1 game from way back in 1999.
That's a great comment.
I so didn't even realize I put a comment up on screen. You can now download it on the PlayStation Store for $7. Is that $7 for anybody, by the way, or only PlayStation Plus members?
I don't know. I don't think.
I think it's in the
everybody.
store for everybody, and then obviously, if you want it for free, you just have to have premium.
Yeah, I think that's the everybody price because it's like crossed off and it says free for me. So I do. That's the problem.
It's interesting to think about, though. You know, when you first see this, you're going, "Who's this other person?" But now that you've all how they've expanded the lore, it's like there's so many people still alive that could very well help take down the Empire. Now that you're just kind of going, man, he really could have met anybody.
Leia, though. I think he meant
Yeah. Right, but it's like now when you think about it, with all the continuity and all the different lore they've expanded upon, you know, it's like there's Ezra and Ahsoka, and it's just like, man, there really are quite. I mean, shit, I don't know where the whole thing with Cal Kestis is going, but I guess we'll find out at some point. But I don't know exactly when he finally bites it
Or if he does.
at all, right?
makes a deal with Wada when it goes poorly.
He says before everything goes horribly wrong.
Right? Yeah, everything's going to be fine. See you in 2 years. I know, right to the point, right in front of Han. This is another one of those great painting shots, by the way, people.
Poor 3PO getting shit on like always.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe a little. He probably just drew the conclusion Obi-Wan gave it to him. He does see Obi-Wan pick it up, although he might have been more concentrating on, burning alive.
It was the whole skin boiling thing he was worried about.
It was a billion times C-3PO has died and come back to life.
Yeah, pretty much.
That would have required Luke to impregnate someone. No. Luke spends no time with Obi-Wan or Yoda during that time. Self-trains, basically. Although he did have a bunch of Obi-Wan's journals from Tatooine, so.
Well, it's definitely evident that Luke was self-trained just because his lightsaber styles change during combat. He uses different forms, whereas usually a Jedi picks a very specific form that suits them. Like Obi-Wan changing to Saresu after watching Qui-Gon die, so he became a defense master essentially.
Chosen Nightwolf, Sean, you're bad. Send him 3PO swimming on my. Why are you trying to destroy him? Well, truthfully, Johnny said it earlier, but I was just taking what he said.
I didn't say that send him swimming on Mustafar. I just said I'd use his off button more.
He really meant Mustafar.
I did not.
He really does ramble on a lot, so yeah, I can see why shutting him down every so often would be not a bad thing.
3PO has his uses, just, occasionally, not constantly.
For a second, I thought he was talking about you, and I was like, okay, we're getting real comfortable. We're at the 1 hour, 26 minute, and 31 second mark of The Empire Strikes Back here. We're in the last act of the film. Sit back and enjoy, because shit is about to pick up. Or we can bring Mustafar to him. Han's clueless and Leia suspects. Sounds about right.
Yep.
We took him apart for fun.
A dinner shot coming up is just so iconic.
Mm-hmm.
The robot chicken stuff produced after it is really funny too.
Yeah. Yep. Even Chewie's like, what the hell's that smell? I still say you need to add that line at the end of the intro.
There's a new intro being worked on. Just got the Smallville one done recently.
Nice.
Look, kid, I've flown from one side of the galaxy to the other, and I've never seen one all-powerful force in control of things. Whoops.
That's one way to make somebody a believer.
Well, I want what Travis is smoking tonight. I shall partake.
What?
Travis, and to anybody else out there, I don't know if you have this on social media, but you can join our Facebook group, Fandom Empire Now. We're going to get one going for Legacy of Star Wars. And so check us out on Twitter at Fandom Empire Now if you want to join the patreon.com/Fandom Empire.
Can you imagine how that torture scene would have gone if Vader knew Leia was his daughter?
He was already probably pissed about Han interfering with him on Luke with the Death Star. Add that into it. I don't think Han's walking out of there.
Probably not.
Fuck the Empress Prize. Or fuck Jabba's Prize. You can freeze Lobot. Me in about an hour. Fucking Han. I have no idea.
Actually, yeah, it is still a thing. I don't know what season they're into, but I know they're still doing it on Cartoon Network. And the cool thing is all the episodes are on Max. So if you actually wanted to binge watch the series, you can start on Max anytime.
This one's an easy one for me, Apollo. I own it. It's just down the hall from me. Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. I think it's just an incredibly beautiful piece of art by Drew Struzan.
Return of the Jedi. I will take no more questions.
Yeah, I was going to say Return of the Jedi for me as well.
You sick men. Well, maybe not Randy, but Johnny, I know you.
And I know you.
Unfortunately for me, we've already told the poster story on the channel. Vader toys with Luke. No other way about it.
Yeah, thinking about it, thinking about the duel, it's like I can. It's almost like you could sit there and it's like Vader's like, "Oh, look at you, all grown up now. Yep. Oh, look at that. You can swing a lightsaber now. That's so good." It's just like just condescending talk the entire time.
You guys ever see like the wrestling meme of the guy doing all the like the rope shit like fucking Commander does with AEW, and the guy's just sitting there like the guy that's holding his arms just sitting there having like a coffee and then texting on his phone, waiting for him to finish. That's what I feel like Vader is doing with this fight with Luke. One hand on the saber while just looking at shit on his phone with the other hand.
Oh, you almost got me there. Got me a little quicker.
I feel like I shouldn't have to answer this question after what's been said on air. Think gold, sir. Gold.
That's George Lucas talking to fans every time he releases a new cut.
Fun fact, our background is just where they were. By the way, we need a better Cloud City Bespin map that lets us go all the way down where Luke and Vader fought on a Star Wars game.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
Didn't we have that in 05 Battlefront too?
They had Bespin, but it wasn't that detailed. Not even the new Battlefront's that detailed. Although I suppose you'd have to fly out a window and fall a few stories and hang on to a bridge to get there. Although one would assume Vader found an elevator or a lift.
Yeah, I think with Battlefront, like the newer ones, it's just like a couple different levels. It was a couple levels of Bespin. It wasn't like all the way down.
Yeah, Travis, I think it's beautiful. Say what you want about the movie. I certainly don't hate it. I think there's some really great shots in Attack of the Clones. But that poster is just that's some romantic shit. Favorite lightsaber duel setting? Well, I'd say a lot of them today happen in the middle of nowhere. That seems to be the popular Disney thing to do. I don't know if I have a favorite setting per se, but I just want to see them try lightsaber duels just in all different unique places. And I think we're going to see some of that in the Acolyte. How about you guys?
It's hard not to say Mustafar.
Yeah, I mean, Mustafar is definitely one of the most interesting set pieces they've done. But I also really like Naboo with all the platforms and the different, that way the Jedi can showcase their skills and whatnot. I thought that was actually a neat setting as well. And then you got the little raised shields coming up and blocking and stuff like that. So I think it's a toss up between Naboo and Mustafar for me.
Random planetary cave, also a good spot.
True.
I can tell you right now, Apollo, that Lucasfilm doesn't view it that way. Lucasfilm views it as if there were two lightsaber battles in The Last Jedi. One being the fight with the Praetorian Guards, which acts like a lightsaber duel, and two, the Kylo versus Ghost Luke there at the end, which even though there's no contact made, it's still a showdown and a duel to some extent. So I assure you that's how they look at it.
Watching that first setup there with Luke and Vader, all I can hear is that scene from Princess Bride in my head. Parry, parry, parry. Good. And just going back and forth.
Lando's just staring dead on at Chewie's junk.
Lando's lucky that Chewie grabbed him by the throat rather than just rip his arms off like we've seen, like we know
Yeah.
Wookiees are prone to do.
I think Lando got the tiniest bit of leeway there from past history. If you haven't yet, take a moment, click the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell to keep up to date with all the content we have coming here at the channel. A ton of it coming. Monday nights is Halloween and horror. Tuesday nights, you have Star Wars. Wednesday nights is a little bit of anything and everything. Probably some gaming soon, too, on Wednesday nights. So we'll see if we can get that going and all that much more. So stay tuned for more. Poor Luke has no idea how in over his head he is here. Part of what makes this duel so great is just like the setting and the shots that we're seeing. It's a lot of close-ups, but just the area feels like something out of a horror movie, something that you might have seen in like Alien or something.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah,
it was at that moment Luke lost this battle.
Oh yeah, when he kicked him down and got a shot in on him, yeah, that was it.
No, it was when he jumped down from the platform. Man gave up the high ground.
Oh God,
he's got a point.
Give it up again. This is where Luke's about to find out he never had a chance. My dad always viewed this as Vader cheating. I used to get a chuckle about it.
Well, I mean, kinda is.
Come on.
Luke just never got better at the, striking aerial objects with his lightsaber thing. And this is the moment where Vader truly won. Because now he has the high ground.
So this is what it's like.
I understand.
The last time I was in this position, I just sort of left Kenobi alone and he came back to kick my ass. Maybe I should go down and check. Makes you kind of wonder if Vader helped Luke grab onto the bridge. Because given where Luke's talent level is and how far he fell there to be able to grab onto that bridge.
It's like, oh shit, don't want to kill him. Come on. There you go.
you could make a great comedy movie of like ghost Padme being brought by someone like annoying 3PO to see the events of the original trilogy play out, and she's just cursing at Anakin every other second.
I would not be surprised if somebody hasn't sort of done that on TikTok. Because I've sort of seen that same principle. Somebody was doing like
You piece of shit.
Well, what's interesting is there's a YouTube page that I follow, and it's basically the dude is acting out as like Anakin and Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, reacting to various scenes and shows from Star Wars, and he does. It's really well done. You get even Dooku showing up at one point, and Gandalf's the next door neighbor. It's pretty entertaining.
He's one of them. I don't know if I'd say the most, but he's up there with a group of them. Keeping in mind, the more you humanize him by showing more of Anakin Skywalker, the more you take away the effect Vader originally had in the original trilogy as the villain, as these three boys in Empire. Which, by the way, speaking of something like that, we're going to be doing some sort of March Madness tournament at the channel involving. I don't know if it'll be Star Wars centric or just fandom centric in general, but villains isn't a terrible idea.
I can get down with that.
Maybe Lando had a kink for Han. Possible. Just saying. Han's gone. Probably thinks he's never going to see him again, so he's going to wear his clothes.
Yeah, this looks like it might fit. Why not?
Maybe he's trying to smell Leia.
See, here's the thing, though. They're probably Lando's clothes. Because I don't imagine Han ever took the time to take Lando's capes out of the closets. So there's still Lando's clothes there from when he owned the ship.
Poor Luke.
I think he was. I think Luke was more upset with Ben that Ben lied to him.
He didn't lie.
From a certain point of view, I get it, but still.
I'm just saying this is cruel parenting.
The most iconic swerve in cinematic history.
100%. Thanks, Jeff, for ruining it for me, you bastard. You guys ever see the clip of Mark Hamill telling the story about how Harrison Ford found out he was Vader was his dad? It's fucking hilarious.
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
I'll pull it up at the end of the show. No, not that I know of. I believe the common practice is the hilts would get burned down for the most part, and the kyber crystals were taken because the Empire was hoarding them for the Death Star project for the laser. Did he? I always just assumed that that lightsaber blew up at the Death Star, but that might make some sense. I mean, it still might have blew up with the Death Star, though, if Vader has his like own quarters on there and then went in the TIE fighter.
That's the moment where I like people who took sort of anger with Leia being force sensitive in the sequel trilogy. Like, did you not watch this movie?
Well, and I think one of the things that they've always hinted at, like with Han, is he may not be like strong in the Force, but like there's just that hint there that he at least can feel it to some degree and just kind of unknowingly uses it. It's kind of like with Luke or Anakin. Anakin with pod racing, Luke running around this T-16, bullseyeing womp rats and all that stuff. And
Vader returning to the Super Star Destroyer here is not in the original cut of Empire. It's possible he just didn't know how to do it at that time. It's very clear, though, from when you look at stuff that's happened afterwards, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, that Force Ghosts can definitely impact the living, and just might not have known how, or might not have been capable of it.
or quite possibly they're not supposed to.
Yeah, that too. There could be consequences. That shot right there is the one I was referring to. She kissed him again. What about Han? Han was just frozen.
She moved on so quickly.
Fucking Cersei Lannister wannabe. Mine too, Kenny. Mine too. Ben is not here right now. Please leave a message.
Obi-Wan's Force Ghost going, shit, not this. Damn it.
Not again.
Now, think about what we learned about the Jedi, their training, why they train the way they do, why kids are taken at a young age. And think about everything that's happened to Luke. If there's anybody by right that should have easily turned to the dark side, it was Luke after all the shit he's been through.
Well, in fairness, he, according to new canon, he was going to try to kill his nephew in his sleep. So, I mean,
But
he
you know,
wasn't
you see what
far
I'm saying.
at least Anakin let them wake up at the temple. He announced they were coming with, a bunch of stormtroopers.
Master Skywalker, what do we do? Guess what?
You die.
Let me tell you, Vader really must like this guy because this guy gets let off the hook again.
The look on Piet's face is like, don't kill me. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Wait, he just walked away? Whew.
Oh, my God. I fucking love this movie. I remember finding Luke's hand here creepy as shit. Oh my God, he actually has a robot hand.
I always thought that was really cool.
The shot of Luke and Leia and R2 and 3PO is identically mirrored at the end of Attack of the Clones with the two droids and Anakin and Padme.
That it is. Mm.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. 1980s Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back. Any last questions or comments? Now is the time. We'll go for about another 7 minutes here and wrap up. Travis says, I always respect Empire being the favorite, even if it's honestly one of my least favorites in the saga, only by default. That's shocking. I'm stunned. You know what, Travis? I'm so curious by that. Also vaping, so that's helping at the moment with the curiosity. But can you provide us your list, if you don't mind, your list of favorite Star Wars movies, the 12 of them, the theatrical films in order, from favorite to least favorite in the chat. I would love to see them. And I promise we won't dissect it like you're a crazy person. It's not that at all. Johnny hates the prequels. I think he's crazy. You can't be worse than that. Thoughts, fellas, on this comment?
Shock? I
You know what though? You know what? I do think I know what it is. You know, I can sort of see it, I believe, and Travis can tell me if I'm on the right page here. I think if the movie had more of this, he would have loved it.
Good Lord. Maybe he's just not a fan of the bad guy winning, or
Star Wars doesn't do that enough.
You're right. They really don't.
Like, the bad guy never wins in the prequels, or not the prequels, sorry, the sequels. It's good guy, good guy, good guy, all 3 times. I know some people will be like, well, The Last Jedi, Luke dies. It'll be like, yeah, but Kyle gets made to look like an idiot and the good guys get away. I don't know. I don't look at it like Empire personally. That's just me.
I don't know. I mean, I think that of all the films, this is the one where the bad guys sort of won.
Oh, Empire?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Definitely.
Sure. They win the personal battle and they win the big battle.
That's what separates it from sort of the other. I mean, not just like I've said, I think this is one of the greatest films ever made. Period. Full stop. Not just a Star Wars film, but an excellent film altogether. So
it's a legit masterpiece.
It really is. I mean, there's a reason why it's in the top 5 on the AFI list. And that's as unbiased as it gets, really.
Kenny says the visual effects in Empire still hold up very well today. Yes, they do. I was blown away by the visuals. I'm watching on an iPad that has 4K capabilities. It's in front of me. It's great. There are people that have TV setups a billion times better than mine too, who probably get to enjoy the visual quality on a level that I just haven't seen. But yeah. The ending of the film was reshot to add in the medical ship. I thought I heard something like that. I think you're right there. Travis says the shot I always love is the Falcon looping around the cloud. I still am not sure how they pulled that one off. I'm not sure how they pulled a lot of shit off the way they did in this film way back in. Again, they were shooting this thing and putting this thing together in 1979.
Well, I mean, you got to give credit to the visual effects team and like the miniature work and things like that. Because when you watch like the making of just like Empire and seeing just all the miniatures they used and like the different types of sets and ships they blew apart for like the asteroid scene and things like that, and then all the post-production that goes into it, it really is amazing, just the quality and the level that they put into this.
Yeah, Apollo, I fucking hate that scene, so that's all I got to say about that. I've come around on a lot of that movie. That scene's not one of them.
It's stupid. I don't know how you defend it.
You're not a true fan. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, you really can't, though.
Travis says favorite to least favorite. Johnny, I don't want to fuck this up, so have at it.
6, 4, 3, 8.
Oh, I meant in the name. We got.
I'm doing numbers here. You want me to read the numbers here? Like, I got to translate it at the same time too.
Yeah. You're rifling through them. Like I'm already lost with what movie.
All right, so first one, you got episode 6 is his top. Second
Return of the
is
Jedi.
episode 4.
A New Hope.
And then is episode 3.
Sith.
Then we have episode 8.
Jedi.
Then we have episode 7.
Force Awakens.
Then we have episode 1.
Phantom Menace.
And now we have Empire.
Empire. So what's behind Empire?
Rogue One, Solo, Attack of the Clones, and Rise of Skywalker.
I now get why Travis listens to this show. He thinks we're stupid.
I
Well, that's a wild list, man. I don't know if I've ever seen a list compiled quite like yours. I think that's incredibly unique, dude. Wow, Rogue One is very low. I mean, I didn't think the most of Rogue One when it came out, but I got to tell you, no movie has grown on me like Rogue One has. I just feel way different. I feel like if you could say, hey, I could have seen Christopher Nolan making the Star Wars movie, Rogue One's that movie. For me anyway. Way back in the day, the other option would be Empire probably. But yeah, that's crazy. Sorry, so which one's dead last?
9.
So hang on, Travis, you forgot the Clone Wars movie. Would that be dead last?
He did point that out, that he forgot to include it, and he's now having an OCD-induced panic attack.
Oh,
so
okay.
he hasn't
I'm sorry, I didn't read
that one in there yet.
Calling you out on air about that, so my apologies. Let's see, what else do we have here? I'm partially oversaturated. Johnny,
it's partially how oversaturated it is in pop culture to the point where I get tired of it. It's great, but as a 24-year-old, it wasn't even a surprise because it was all spoiled.
So I chose to show Zachary, my oldest son, who is going to be 16 this year.
No, that's that. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Actually, we're gearing up for the Smallville podcast, right? And I'm thinking to myself as I'm preparing and getting all this ready with Jade, I'm like, when I was watching Smallville, I was like Clark Kent's age, so like I was right into the series, and now I'm watching it again here, and it's like now I'm closer to Jonathan Kent's age than Clark Kent, and my oldest son is slightly older than Clark's supposed to be at the beginning. It was a scary moment, man, so I get it.
No.
You want to talk about slightly induced panic attacks? That was one of them.
I just no, thank you, sir. No. No. What? Nah. Yeah, oh God. Show's over. Time to go home. I can't anymore. I can't function as a human being.
Kenny shares his list, which thank you. It's not in Roman numerals. You're not punishing us like Travis did.
It's not punishing if you know Roman numerals, bro.
He said Empire. You couldn't even translate the names.
I could. So I was just translating the numbers.
Empire, Star Wars. Kenny, you can't choose the whole franchise as number 2. Jedi. Which one is that? I seriously don't. Okay, the TLJ. But Sith, Rogue One, The Force Awakens, Solo, Clone. Oh, not clones. Okay. Phantom Menace.
Oh my god!
I was having another one of those panic attacks we were talking about. The Clone Wars movie and The Rise of Skywalker. Okay, I'm glad I'm not like on an island by myself here. The Rise of Skywalker is just a really bad Star Wars movie, right? We all in agreement on that?
I think that was like near the bottom for all of us when we did our rankings.
Yeah.
It was either that or the Clone Wars. I know the Clone Wars movie for me was probably on the bottom, and then it was like the Rise of Skywalker and Attack of the Clones. I think those were my bottom 3.
George, if you're asking Travis and us to choose between, what one did he mean? You mean?
Yes.
I'd be curious if you took all of the Clone Wars series and made it a movie and added it into your movie list, which isn't really fair because you get to spend
nobody got time for that.
No. I mean, like not every episode. I mean, just Clone Wars as the series represented one entry. Although that's not really fair because like you're spending 60, 70 episodes with certain characters, right? That's a lot of time where a movie you might spend with main characters, half an hour, 40 minutes of on-screen time.
Jeez Louise, Travis. That OCD panic attack really took you to the depths, huh?
How about it, Johnny? Take
All
two.
right. Take two. We start with episode 6. So it's the same right up until we get to...
I ain't helping you with names this time.
I don't need you to help me with names. First, we've got episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Then we've got episode 4, A New Hope. Then 3, Revenge of the Sixth. Okay.
We'll get there. Don't worry.
Yeah, we will. 3, Revenge of the Sith. Then we've got 8. I can't. 8, The Last Jedi. Really? This high? I digress. We got 7, Force Awakens. 1, The Phantom Menace. 5, Empire. We have Rogue One, Solo. Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. And then the Clone... You think Attack of the Clones is better than the Clone War? Okay. I can't... My hate is coming out. My hate is coming out.
Hang on. Do I need to revisit? Did you have the Clone Wars animated movie ahead of Attack of the Clones on your list?
I'm pretty sure I did.
Oh, for the love of God. No.
Then after the Clone Wars, this list goes off the rails a little because we have Battle for Endor, the Ewoks movie. Then we have episode 9. Then we have Caravan of Courage, the other Ewok movie, and the holiday special to round it out. If I remind you that the Droids movies exist, is that going to just throw you on another death spiral?
I used to have that. I was trying to find that for Jensen the other day. I couldn't remember. I know you get like R2 and 3PO and these guys and a pirate gang and
aren't they
somehow
on Disney Plus?
TIE fighters. Are they? Droids up there?
Did they have like Ewoks as well as another cartoon?
Yeah,
like
I'm pretty sure they have Caravan of Courage and...
I also had the comics growing up. They had Droids comics and Ewoks comics.
Just think about this. At one point in time, in terms of visual media, either shows or movies, and the only Star Wars material you had was the original trilogy, Battle for Endor, Caravan of Courage, the holiday special, Ewoks and Droids. That was it. That was Star Wars for a very long time.
I survived it all.
Let me tell you, when I was younger, I watched that Droids movie more than I would care to admit, even though I can't remember shit about it.
Nobody can remember shit about it. But yes, you did. I remember the VHS tape you had.
They were in like weird, funky cases. Like they were VHS cases, but like they were like child-proof almost.
Yeah, they weren't like the traditional clamshell cases of the era. They were awkward, sort of, cases, and not even like the regular plastic ones that you used to get before that, like the the Blockbuster style cases.
I don't think I have my Droids case anymore. I think I have the Ewoks one still in storage. So, on my note, my Halloween ranking would piss you off more. Well, tune in Monday nights, man. Dean and I are live Mondays with a Halloween-centric show that also ties into other horror. This past Monday, we did what our official pitches would have been for the Halloween TV series coming up. And then this upcoming Monday, we are reviewing the Halloween return script. We're hoping to have some guests on for that. We'll see if everybody can get through the scripts in time. That's going to be a fun show. You can check that out Mondays on the channel. And as we mentioned before, stay tuned. The Legacy of Smallville is coming up. If he ends up getting the time, we hope to have Johnny on as a guest for the occasional episode. I know he's actually seen the series. And I also believe my brother will make his channel debut during that podcast series. So just looking forward to trying some different things out. And that's more of a a passion for us. I don't care if 10 people view those episodes. It's something that's close to my heart, and eventually I want to do something with Supernatural for that too, but there's only so much time in a day. And with that,
I'm actually doing a rewatch of that right now.
you had to just go throw that out there.
I did. I'm all sad. I just watched season 5, episode 11. Oh, season 5, episode 10.
Oh, that's where Zachary is basically. Yeah. Yeah. He hasn't quite watched that. That's Ellen and Joe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't gotten to that part. He doesn't know it. He was just telling me about how much he likes Ellen and Joe. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm actually in sort of a funny...
I was like, don't get attached to people, please.
In sort of a funny Supernatural thing, one of the streamers that I frequently watch on Twitch, his girlfriend will occasionally be watching TV on in the background. And they've been watching Supernatural over the last few months. I've been identifying episodes based on tiny television screen clips that I can see over his shoulder while he's got like a graphic covering the screen so that he doesn't get DMCA'd while they're watching it. I'm identifying episodes just from these little tiny parts of the episode, and they love it. I've pulled it off 3 times consecutively, and it's been easy all 3 times. Because the first one was the Christmas episode from season 3, season 2, maybe.
I didn't watch it this Christmas, but that's been a staple the last few Christmases for us. We watched that episode in Lexmas.
And then the other 2 were very easy. It was one of the Ben episodes in season 6. So it's like, okay, it's Ben. I can figure out which episode it is based on. And the other one was the episode with Charisma Carpenter and James Marsters when they did their guest spot.
Ah, yeah.
So I'm looking at the screen and I see James Marsters and Charisma Carpenter. I'm like, oh, I know exactly which episode this is. So it's like half cheating, but like half skill.
Well, I don't know. There's someone else at the channel who's been lobbying for something Supernatural related for a long time, and
might that be someone who has an obsession with cats?
Yeah. I believe the 3 of us at one point were going to do it, and it's so hard to do. You have to find the time, and not saying we can't do it. Maybe it's something we can sit down and talk about, but
there's just so much of it.
I don't mind that there's so much of it. You just got to stay committed for a long time on it. It's not doing too much for burnout. I really like the way that Michael Rosenbaum and Tom Welland do Talkville. It's not too much, right? It's like you're talking 40 minutes to an hour episodes that come out once a week, and a lot of it's they're never live, and it's pre-recorded. So
Travis,
oh boy, can we get off before midnight? Is the question. Here, let's go through this. Here, I'll start us up on the outro. I won't include droids because they combined episodes into films after.
Fair.
I got a droids VHS I stole from a campground. Forgive our boy Travis. He means well. Oh, did the Leafs lose again tonight?
Oh, yeah, they choked a 2-goal lead and lost by 2.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yep.
Fire the coach and stop putting Samsonov near the net. I know he wasn't in tonight, but my God. I'll just say that where I put Empire is probably where the original Halloween would go on that list. I got to tell you, man, I'm not somebody that believes that you have to like the original the best. I get a lot of shit and have taken a lot of shit on this channel for liking Halloween 4 better than the original. And you know what? I go back and forth if I even like the original 2nd, 3rd, or even 4th. So I'm with you on that. Are you guys both H1 guys?
I mean, I enjoy it for what it is, but I also know that there's some Halloween movies like you said with 4. I actually will, if that's on, I'll watch that over H1, just because I actually like I like the story a little bit better.
Yeah, Resurrection, best film, bar none.
And on that note, closest I've come to Supernatural is watching all of Gilmore Girls. Great show. One of the dudes is in it. Travis,
That's literally the joke of an episode.
you had won us over, man. You had won us over. And then we found out you didn't try Supernatural. Reminds me of another guy that Randy knows in real life who won't give Supernatural a shot because he heard it was a girl show.
It's not a chick show.
Yeah, Matt.
That was his reasoning behind it. It's a chick show.
Yeah, it's a chick show. I don't want to watch 15 seasons of a chick show.
What?
It's like, oh my God! There's horror, there's mystery, there's drama, there's comedy. Yeah, there's a bit of romance, but it's not a fucking
Pick
chick show.
literally one episode, any point in the entire series, and watch that. If you can call that a chick show, well, you've got an extremely poor luck and pick maybe one of like 5 episodes that you might be able to say, oh, I can maybe see why you'd say that about that episode. It's like 5 in the entire series.
Randy, next time you see Matt, just low blow him and then like tell your wife to get the tables and you guys can 3D him through the tables. Oh my God.
Fandom Empire sends his regards.
Oh shit, that's good. Johnny, where can everybody find you, man? What do you got going on?
Oh, you can find me here, there, and everywhere, but here mostly.
Awesome, good stuff. You don't want to put your Twitch shit out there?
No. I haven't logged into that account in quite a while.
Oh, I thought you were still doing Twitch regularly.
No.
Okay. Randy.
You can find me on X at Giggity Giles. Obviously, Tuesdays you got me here, and then Wednesdays I'm usually a part of the fun of Welcome to the Geek Side. Also with the NFL playoffs in full swing. Right now we're doing weekly episodes of the Sports Brew. Just Google Sports Brew, and you should be able to find us no problem.
Sorry, the thing wasn't working. There we go. Stupid roadcaster. Phone never just rings at a police station. No way, no how. Kenny says, great show. Every time I watch Halloween, just insert that clip of thanks for coming out, man. You were a bunch of fun to hang out with during Empire. Thanks to Randy. Thanks to Johnny. Tune in next week. Another Star Wars show for you. We'll be talking Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace video game at some point, and we'll see what the rest of that episode entails when we get there. Until then, stay safe. Good night.